Okay, so this is a video working through the 2019 free response question number 3, part A. We're given a graph and we're being told that we've got a continuous function from -6 to 5, but you notice we're only seeing from -2 to 5. So they've specifically outlined that this thing exists over here, but that we don't know what it is. So it keeps going in that direction for at least 4 more units. And we are showing a portion of the graph consisting of 2 line segments and a quarter of a circle centered at the point 5 and 3. So 5, 3. So there's our center of the circle. Let's put a little center right there. And they're saying it is known that the point 3, 3 minus root 5 is on the graph of f. So let's see what the heck that means. So it's 3. So that's this point right here is 3, 3 minus square root of 5. I'm not sure we need this for part A, but we'll see. We'll for sure need the circle piece. So we're going from -6 to 5. We're finding the area to be 7. So that's a given piece of information. And that means this question mark plus all of this space is 7. And then they're asking us to find the area from -6 to -2. In other words, the question mark space. So this is that unknown space over there. So what we're going to do is say, okay, well, from -6 to -2, that space under the graph, when I add it to the space from -2 to 5 under the graph, that's all got to equal 7. So that's what's happening. We've got these 2 chunks. So the unknown chunk, the question mark chunk, plus the chunk we have a graph for. When you add up those 2 amounts, you get 7. So we're going to go and find the space for this graph, or find the area under the graph between it and the x-axis. And whatever that value is, we're going to subtract it from 7. So let's say that value ended up being 3. It's not, but we'd have our question mark space plus 3 equals 7. We're going to subtract a 3 from both sides, and then our question mark would be 4. Now that's not what it is, but that's the process arithmetic wise that we're going to go through. So I'll just call that an aside. Okay, so we need to actually find area. So let's see, we're going to add up some area for -2 up to 5. So I see a little triangle here, and I see a little triangle here. And I notice they're exactly the same amount. They knock each other out. I'm not even going to bother computing the area on those 2 because they offset. That being said, if I had to, I know I could, but I don't have to, so I'm not gonna. I then have this other line that's over here, and I could actually use a similar area argument, and there'd be nothing wrong with that. In fact, why don't we do that? Why don't we just do an area argument? So let's see, I'll choose blue. We've got this little sliver right there. That's going to offset with this little sliver right here. And those 2 knock each other out. So just like with the reds, those knock each other out, and I'm still at 0. So as I move from -2 over to 1, that's 0. There's no space there. Now what I need to do is say, okay, well, I need to go in here and get that space. So actually I'll switch color again. I'll go to green. I'm going to go here and get this space. Well, if you notice, I've got a full square, and then I've got almost a full square. But if I were to take that and put it right here, I've got 2 full squares. So this green area from 1 to 2 is worth 2. Now you can compute this in any number of ways you want, but that little green space is worth 2. So up till now, from -2 up to 2, so that span of 4 numbers, my area is 2. And then I run into this circle deal. So I'm told we have a circle centered at, 5, 3. And that means obviously we've got a radius of 3. And I've got a quarter of the area. So I've got a quarter of the area. That's a quarter circle. So let's see. What the space I actually want, and I think this is the confusing part. The space I actually want is this space. I don't actually want the quarter circle piece, but I still need to compute the quarter circle to do it. So let's compute that quarter circle. So let's see, a quarter circle is 1/4 pi r squared. And in this case, my r is 3. So I'd have 1/4, so I'd have 9 pi over 4 would be the area of that circle. To get this space, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that big 3 by 3 square, and let's see, choose a different, I'm running out of colors here, but we can get creative. So I'm going to take that big square, that is 3 by 3, that's an overall space of 9. So that overall square is worth 9. I'm then going to subtract out the piece I'm not using, which is that quarter circle. So I'm going to go 9 minus 9 pi over 4. That is the yellow highlighted space. So this, and I'll keep with my color coding, this is that yellow highlighted space. The whole thing, the big purplish square, that's 9. Subtract out my quarter circle, and my whole yellow space is 9 minus 9 pi over 4. Now, I've got 9 minus 9 pi over 4 and 2. So I've got the 2 and the 9 minus 9 pi over 4. I'm going to put those together. So 2 plus 9 minus 9 pi over 4. And that's going to give me 11 minus 9 pi over 4. So that is this thing. So now I've got my question mark, my integral that I'm interested in. So my integral from -6 to 2 f of x dx. And I'm going to add to that 11 minus 9 pi over 4, and that all is going to equal 7. Well, to get this by itself then, which is what I'm after, I'm going to subtract 11 and then subtract 9 pi over 4. So if I subtract 11, that would be a -4. So 7 minus 11. Then I have to add 9 pi over 4. So plus 9 pi over 4. And quite likely, and I can check back here to make sure I'm expressing it the way they do, but I would guess it's written 9 pi over 4 minus 4. And that would be the area from -6 over to 2. So from -6 over to 2, that would be my space.